Hello and welcome. I would like to introduce a beautiful guest to you today on this episode. But first, let me just share with you why we're here today. So, this new episode title is called Bridging Barriers. And the podcast, it brings heart, hope, and help to parents and to caregivers of children with adaptive needs. So, welcome. I'm your host, Sue Jansen. I am a proud mom. I'm a grandmother. I'm a barrier free living advocate. And together with my daughter, Candace Jansen, who you're going to be meeting throughout our episodes, she is my daughter, and she lives. Her daughter, actually, my daughter's daughter, my granddaughter, her name is Kalea, and she lives with cerebral palsy and cortical visual impairment. And so we get it and we understand. And we're going to share more about Candace and my granddaughter's story in a bit. But each week we want to let you know that we bring you inspiring parent stories. We bring expert insights, which we have today, and practical resources just to help you navigate daily challenges with confidence and with care. And whether you're seeking community, support, or simply a moment to breathe, you've found your place. This is the place to be at Bridging Barriers. And just want to remind you, if you want to share your parent story with us, and if you want to find that supportive community, we have it all on jansenconsultinggroup.com, and it's scrolling across your screen. So please join us there, and we'd love to get to know you better. So we bridge barriers together, and we build a better world for all of us, for the parents and the children. And so now I'm excited to introduce you to my expert guest today. This is our expert podcast. And Wilma Grobbelaar is a seasoned changed life coach. And she has a rich background in nursing. She offers a unique blend of experience and holistic approaches to personal growth. And with over 3 decades of experience in nursing, including specializations in oncology, midwifery. How do you say that, Wilma? Midwifery. Midwifery. I got it. Midwifery and operating theater nursing. She's developed a coaching approach that focuses on guidance and empowering rather than on traditional therapy. So her leadership role as a nurse manager at a cancer care hospital highlighted the importance of providing unwavering support and addressing relationship stress in healthcare settings. So when I met Wilma in one of my wonderful groups that I belong to, I was really intrigued by what she does. And I know that she's the perfect person to speak to you today about self-care. We really want to get the message out that the nurturing parents and caregivers of children with adaptive needs need to be nurtured. And she is here to tell us all about that. So we're going to have all her description and information in the description on the podcast. So please reach out to her too anytime that you want to have more information. And she's also got an ebook as a gift for our audience. And so we'll be posting for sure that information. It'll be coming up soon. So before we go any further, I just want to welcome and introduce Wilma again, and welcome here. And thank you so much for being here to talk to our audience. Thank you, Wilma.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to congratulate you on your new Bridging Barriers, because I think it's an absolute wonderful idea and a very needy, it's needed in the world.
Yes, exactly.
Really.
So thank you for that. I appreciate you being my guest too, because this is exciting for Candace and I. So you know what? Tell me a little bit more about you that the audience needs to know. And then let's start talking about that self-care. We'll get right into that. Sound good?
Yeah. So apart from, I want to say that I am not a parent. This lifetime, I haven't had any children, but I love children and I love working with children. But through my long nursing experience, and then now for the last 23 years in energy medicine, I absolutely love working with children, and I've worked with a lot of children and parents. And this is, and especially with the energy medicine, it is to move even more away from the traditional platforms and traditional thinking when we come with healthcare. I've got all this knowledge, but I also know that the body has tremendous power and that innate knowledge to heal. And
Yes.
that is what I really enjoy.
Oh, that's perfect. And that's why I thought you'd be perfect to share, your information with our parents out there. Because
Mhm.
a lot of them, and I just want to also say, and I should have mentioned this off the top, you are sitting in South Africa, which is
Yeah.
just like, I love the connections that I've made across this world. And you're one of those special people because you were on my podcast before as well. So tell me now, like when we focus on self-care for these parents because they're
Mhm.
overwhelmed, a lot of them. I'm not
Yeah.
blanketing, and I know, but the ones that I come personally in contact with, they're just feeling a lot of times that they're all alone, that there's nobody out there to help out, even though they are surrounded by people. But we want them to be more mindful of the people that are there for them, but also
Yeah.
how to take care of themselves, because
Yeah.
that's so important. So can you share a little bit about that
Yeah.
for us? Yeah.
I also feel that if we look at parents, as I say, I've never been a parent this lifetime, but I worked with a lot of parents, and what I experienced in my whole of my life with parents, if a child is sick, the mother is sick.
Mm-hmm.
The mother is not feeling great if the child is sick. And
Mm-hmm.
when we look at children with adapted needs, if we look at that overwhelm that sets in when the parent realizes that maybe the dream that they have about their child is not going to be the way they want it, and that adapted needs are there for a long run. It's not just changing like that, you know. It is something that we all have to live with and adapt our lives to, you know, to make it. And now the ebook that I'm written, nearly finished for you, is called Peaceful Parenting,
Mm-hmm.
that I will give to your people to as a gift. And so for me, it is that. To understand stress first of all, and to understand how does it affect me, because the child with those needs is um, is creating something within me that's stressful. First of all, we have the shock when we find out that our child needs a special care or has got adapted needs, and that's like a neurological shock. You know, the nervous system goes in shock. And then later, if I don't address that, and it's not easily addressed because now you sit with a baby with these needs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not going away. So now it can affect physiological. So it sinks into the body, and I can come up with other physiological things,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be varied, very, very varied, the symptoms that we have. And that's why I always think that it's a good idea if at times we have like a stress assessment. Don't have to pay for anything. And by the way, everything that I'm putting in this book for for the people, nothing you pay for. So, because I also know that when we have children with or family members with adapted needs, the financial cost is just higher than anything else because
Mm-hmm.
there's more to pay for, you know, that you have to. So, and I think this is one of the things why parents sometimes think, but I can't spend another cent on me
Mm-hmm.
because I need to spend on my child's care.
Mm. So
But
that's yeah, that's something that we want to share with them. Is that a myth? Is that something that we need to reframe?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's a mindset. That's a mindset. And so we have to look at what is the mindset. So it is that self-care mindset is that, and yes, there's a couple of myths. It takes a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a myth because what I'm going to give you can be 3 minutes. You literally can sit by yourself for 3 minutes, sit still, or breath. You know, breath is the first thing that we take in life to be alive. And so breath work for me is breath work. I'm not saying breath work, but I mean it is for me one of the most important things, because it is one of the things that can really bring the nervous system into balance.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yeah, and then things like journaling. You can literally buy a book and start writing.
Yes.
Doesn't cost a thing, not a thing.
Yeah.
And
And
so there's a lot.
you're writing down, I'm sorry
Yeah,
to writing down like your thoughts or how your frustrations, or what are you writing down that's going to help you? Like just
yeah,
to a greater awareness. Is that right? But
yeah.
what do you advise that they
Because
start looking?
yeah,
Yeah.
because that day, for instance, I've got like just a one-page thing for you. For instance, the date, and then it doesn't take a long time, because you just say, today I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, sad, or today I feel irritated, or I feel angry, because we have to bring it out of here. How do I feel? I must learn my feelings. I must learn to express it. So today I feel grief, or today, or let's say you at a sports event and you see children taking sport and your child can't, and you can get that anger. There's nothing wrong with it. You see, my child will never play on the sports field. That dream of the child play in something like that is not there, not going to happen. So you just say, today I feel angry because, and then below that I've got two. Today I am grateful for, because grateful the sun is shining, because I can I can walk outside,
Yeah.
or I'm grateful for my health because I feel good. I can be looking after my child. It's
Mm.
really such small, simple things. And I always say, I never, I never used to write. I actually hated writing, to be honest with you. And then I realized that I've got to start journaling. And I started by writing a sentence. That's all.
Yeah. We're not talking
Tomorrow,
pages here. We're not talking about 3 pages or 3 chapters.
no,
And we just get your thoughts.
tomorrow it was like 3 sentences. And then one day I looked, oh my gosh, I wrote a half a page.
Yeah.
And now these days I can sometimes write 2 pages or
Yeah.
3 pages, and it doesn't matter because it's your book. Nobody
Right.
watches it, nobody looks at it, you don't look back at it, you don't read it again. It's just because what we've got to get things out of the mind, so otherwise it's pushed down the body, and then I'm going to be presented with some stuff. It can be
Mhm.
headaches, it can be aches, it can be pains, it can be some diseases, because it's what's happening here.
Right. And sometimes
So
when
the
you
more,
write things, you know,
yeah,
sorry, I don't want to
no,
interrupt. And then I notice that sometimes when you start writing, that just things start coming out that you're not
yeah,
consciously thinking about, but it's showing you, it's highlighting for you kind of what's going on, and
yeah,
to help you just be more mindful. Now you see it in writing, and you've expressed it so that you have at least, now you might think of other things. Well, I know how to combat that. Like I know that this is how I'm feeling, and I didn't realize that was the cause. Like you can really do a lot of self-awareness and
yeah,
self-discovery. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, when we this mindset thing, the self-care mindset. So as I said, it's not costing anything, doesn't have to cost a cent, because there's lots of things we can do. And I also give like links to other places that it has helped me, or that is just short things, short little a little meditation, or as I said, sit for 3 minutes quiet on a chair, don't
Mhm.
talk, and see what happens. And then the other thing, of course, is, we think, I haven't got the time. It's going to cost a lot of money, and it's not. So we have to just work through that. So it's like when they realize there's actually no excuse, but when they realize they have to do something for me, for themselves,
Mhm.
that's the most important, because the better they are, the better they will be for the family and for their child. and the other children. And so for what the other thing that's for me so important is, if there's a pair, for the spouse, that there is allowing, that they allow each other to have self-care techniques that is applicable to each other, not to, they don't have to do it together. Like if the husband does this and the wife does this, that means there's this bit individuality. Because I don't, in all my years of working, the tragedy sometimes of people who have children with adapted needs are they separate, and some of the, you know, and because I believe because they didn't get the right support right from the beginning, both parents, the male and the female, or my husband and wife. So I think it's so beautiful if both of them together can realize, look, we do need some time, we do need a little bit, and they can sort of cover for each other, if you and that can be a little bit of a longer time. You go and go for a movie with your friends, and I will be with our child, you know.
Yeah.
So they are different ways. And the other thing is not, although the whole thing is about the parents, but even for the carers, paid carers that come in and look after children, have to care for children, they also need self-care.
Right. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, they also need self-care, because I think it's quite taxing. I sometimes, when I look at, because where I live, my friends, they have got a child that's autistic. He's 17 and he's got a day carer. And I sometimes look at them because I'm here, and I think, oh, I take my hat off to that lady that looks after him, absolutely. And so it is for any carer. Doesn't matter if it's a parent, doesn't matter if it's a grandparent that's looking at, they all need this to understand that they have to look at themselves, self-care, to be able to be their best in that situation for the family. And then, because, for instance, connecting to self, this is sometimes happens during a self-care technique where you can really connect to yourself.
Okay. And what's that?
Because the thing is, if we are just so out there, the mother or the father are so constantly there, that in that process, they've forgotten who they really are.
Exactly.
And it is only because it's a constant, it's 24/7, they've got to think of the child. As the child got everything, the food, the care, whoever
Yes.
must care for the child, everything. It's a 24-hour, 24/7 schedule. And in that process, they lose themselves. They later sometimes don't even know that they as like a little robot, They go from point A to point B to point C, and it's just going on. So when we actually go into self-care and they do these techniques, and you don't have to do 5 a day, but I always say, if you've never meditated, try it. As you just try by sitting 3 minutes quietly. Nobody said must nothing be in your head. It just means that be aware what's coming through your mind, through the head, and let it go. Because sometimes in that, you suddenly connect very deeply to your heart, because that's where you really are.
Yeah.
That's where you really are. And
Exactly.
it's like you get out of your head and you start feeling what's happening here, and that is your whole connection to yourself. And you start realizing, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good feeling to be able to really know who you are, and then not judge it, and this is where those feelings can come up. What do I really feel? I'm not going to judge it. If I feel resentment, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not judging it. If I feel happy, that's wonderful. If I feel nothing, then I'm not going to judge it either. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's really to start knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we do that, when we experience it, then we can be a better partner, a better spouse, because now I can actually also identify that my spouse is struggling a little bit, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it is that connection between them
Yeah.
that for me is so important. And of course, the other children, if there's more than one child,
Yeah.
the other children are not that don't have adapted needs. You've got to have that balance.
Mm. That's tricky too, because sometimes you pay more attention to the child with adaptive needs, and then not that you're ignoring the other, but you just you can't be in two places at one time. So it just works out that way, and that other child might feel that. So that's something you have to consider, though.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they have to one has to be, because they can easily feel it, very easily feel neglected. And I always say to the parents, try. They don't have to have adapted need children, but I mean, if they do, then it's like the other child, the one that hasn't got any, have once a week a me time with that child,
Hmm.
15 minutes,
Hmm.
whatever. Have a coffee, to have a ice cream, go for whatever, just you and that child, because that means that's precious for that child.
Hmm.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And
And it
that
doesn't, like
can,
you said, it doesn't have to be a long period of time, but they
yeah,
remember. They remember the
exactly.
special time or the ice cream or whatever it is that you took.
Yeah,
And I know that's hard to do when everything is going crazy around you. But I mean, those, like you said, it's really being deliberate and self-aware when you take the time to spend that 15 extra minutes with the other child, and also to spend that 15 minutes with you, just to kind of some self-love is, I
yeah,
think what's
yeah,
really important, because they're
absolutely.
they're doing such a good job, and that's kind of why we're doing this podcast, and we have our website, because we want to let parents know they're not alone in this. And you might feel alone, but really we are here, and we do understand, we get it, and we want to support you, and give you permission to take care of yourself and to love yourself, because I mean that's so important to your child, for you and your children.
And then, of course, the what services are in the community are available to them.
Hmm.
Because
Yes.
I've just got one page and I put there 5 numbers. When I need support, who do I phone? The name and the number. It can be friends, it can be a mother, it can be an aunt, it can be whoever that's
Yeah.
available to them. Because sometimes we forget, but if that is there, oh, I can phone that one. And if that one is not answering, I can phone that one. And then which support systems is close to them in their vicinity, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe some of it is online, doesn't matter. But
Right.
sometimes something that's very close to them is there, but they just don't know it. So it's just to be able to find that
Hmm.
and then join, because that's another very big support. Because
Yeah.
again, that is that connection from you. Open yourself up for the love that other people want to give you,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
because they are there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're creating that hub for in our on our website, and we really want parents to come together there and to get the support that they need and answer their questions. Especially what I remember when my daughter and my granddaughter had her episode of near SIDS, is what they diagnosed us as at 8 weeks old. But I mean, coming out of the hospital after 5 weeks at the Stollery, I mean, you don't even know what questions to ask or where to go. I mean, you're
Yeah.
so overwhelmed with everything that's happened,
Yeah.
so that's kind of what we're trying to provide, my daughter and I,
Mhm.
is just to say, this is a hub, this is where you come to, and to get those, even if you don't know the questions, we'll kind of help you get the correct answers to what you're feeling and thinking and what you might need. So that's
But that is going to be fantastic, because that means if they can just click in there and they can see some questions and answers, or as you say, even if they don't feel like asking something, but what they want to ask, the question may be already answered. It's there,
exactly,
you
exactly.
know. And
Yeah.
they can also add something that this has worked for me,
Mm.
you know. in this situation, I find this really working, and they can also share that.
That's exactly.
That's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to provide in Alberta here right now locally, but we want it to go out. And we can do this for anybody who comes in to the community. Of course, doesn't matter. You don't have to be local, but we're thinking already, we're planning ahead to maybe doing retreat for the local people, or maybe people come to Canada and join us. We'll see.
Yeah, beautiful.
Because it is a
Beautiful.
really, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Wilma, anything else that you want to share with us before we sign off here? I mean, because you've been such a beautiful guest and we really appreciate your insight and your knowledge. Is there any one thing that you want to share before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I just reach out. You cannot be in a situation like that by yourself. It's not necessary to be alone. It's not necessary. Reach out, because once you are through a certain stage of your life with your child that needs adapted care, you can be the one that give advice to somebody else that is in the beginning of that journey.
Oh, good advice. Thank you so much. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining in on our second episode of Bridging Barriers. So glad to have you here today. And as promised, Wilma has written an ebook, and it's going to be available to you. So what I'll just do is I'll make it available on our website, of course, to the members. And also I'll put it under your description on this podcast so that people can access that for free. Thank you very much for the generous gift. I appreciate that. So Wilma, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you for joining us. And please go to our website. It's floating underneath me here on the screen, Janssen Consulting Group. And that's there. You'll find a lot of answers to your questions. And we really want to build this community. This is an important community to build. And we want to share the love with each and every one of you. So, because we know what you're going through. So join us here. And again, I'm looking for parents who want to share their stories on the podcast. And we also looking for community groups who want to also be a part of this. So thank you again, everybody. And have a wonderful day. And we just appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. Okay. Bye.
Bye.